I practically memorized that. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to be here, also to be speaking alongside Ivan, who I've known for quite a while. If you, for any reason, are not happy with this talk, please ask for a refund outside the door. So, just as a brief introduction, I've been told, and I don't like talking about myself so much, but I've been told you have to always introduce yourself. So, let me introduce you to one of the worst made slides ever. What does a group of friends plus a volcano plus a TV camera or a camera equal? Any guesses? Okay. So again, this is a same shameless plug. It equals a TV show called Five and Up, and that is me. That's not a gnome. That was me and my brother one time when Mountain Tube erupted. This was way back in 1991. We thought, hey, why not, copy our aunt or tita who comes out on TV and do a kind of newscast. So it was my brother's idea, but he made me the one in front of the camera. And we went out, ash was falling down in our street. And of course, you're wearing goggles because it protects you from the ash. And we just did a video shoot, and it was really funny but stupid. We broke the camera, and we showed it to our family. And our family said, hey, why are you guys doing this? But the backstory was that a group of our friends in grade school also managed to watch this show called The Pro Team. I don't know if you're familiar with that show. It used to be this investigative TV show. And when they found out that there were a group of kids who watched The Pro Team, they thought, why not do a show for kids that mimic the magazine TV format of The Pro Team? And that's how Five and Up came about. So I was really blessed to be part of that children's TV show. We don't call it like a variety show, a children's TV show. And we don't call ourselves kiddie artists or kiddie whatever. We were actually doing stories that really mattered, like how hot dogs are made. And, that exactly matters. And after that, I never wanted to eat a hot dog again. But, I still did, sorry. So much for principles. After that, there's just to show there's a maturity to this, there's a point. I taught for a year as a volunteer teacher in this place called Turtle Islands in Tawi-Tawi, which was far, far away. And now I work in Raptor. So journalism, being somewhat with social media, has never really left me, even if I tried to work in government and did other stuff before. But Raptor, just for those of you who don't know, Raptor is a small, growing social news network combining journalism, technology. Actually, our boss, Maria, wants to call us a technology company, and the wisdom of the crowd. So that's you guys, because you actually have a say, and I will explain that later, in what Raptor does. So Raptor is something that kind of was a really good fit when I joined it, because it combined everything that I knew, which was production, TV work, and with something that I love to do, which is telling stories. Thing was, though, that when I joined Raptor, I was probably one of the older members, aside from, of course, the veteran journalists that joined Raptor. Everyone else was a millennial. I mean, I consider myself a millennial. I was born within that cutoff, but you can call me one of the old school millennials, the ones that still love the sound of the typewriter and miss the way we used to send letters to each other and fax machines. For millennials, do you know what a fax machine is? Yeah, maybe not, but it actually worked. So in Raptor, we had to learn things, and one of the things I learned was social media and how quickly it spread. I want to show you a picture of this boy. He had no name when he was found by a policeman. The policeman's name was Federico, and so they gave the boy the name Federico. He was brought to a center in Manila, which was called a Reception and Action Center, which is basically like a youth center. But the problem with this youth center was that he was put together with juvenile delinquents, with adult offenders. The people who were supposed to take care of him were not trained social workers. They were, in fact, volunteer parents from the local barangay. And we were told by the NGO that took this picture and posted it online that the food that they were giving them was not healthy, was not good. The plates that they were washing, the water that they washed the plates in was dirty. So this, instead of getting rehabilitated, this boy, Federico, was actually wilting away. That's exactly how they found him. And so this NGO, which normally does not, expose pictures of children like this, felt the need to take a picture and put it online. To do it, so the boss would put this picture online. Of course, it was shared, it went viral. Rappler did a report about it, and usually in the news, that's that. You report it, bahala na. Maybe you do a follow-up story. What was interesting was that when we followed up this story, it wasn't just people sharing it, maybe liking it, or putting an angry emoticon on it. By the way, we have a mood meter on the side, so that shows you the pulse of the people that click on that mood meter. People were actually enraged and they wanted to take action. So what happened? Well, they staged rallies. They staged actual rallies outside Manila City Hall, because this was in Manila. They had a dialogue with the Manila mayor, who promised to close down or rehabilitate that rehabilitation center, ironically. And it resulted in some real world change. So remember the picture a while ago, and look at the mood meter now. It said happy. But the picture of this boy who was adopted by an orphanage is now this boy. And without that picture going viral, I wonder what would have happened, or what would have not happened, if no one really took action. And so this is what highlights the thing that we do in Rappler, which is civic engagement. It's taking online action and hopefully converting it into real-world action. The group that I belong to is called Group PH, and Rappler actually began with the idea that we can't just do the regular style of reporting, which is what, where, who, what, where. We also have to talk about the why and the how. Now, we believe in this thing called social media for social change. It kind of sounds cliche now, but it really is the case, because social media is changing us. Like, I think what Army Miliaro was saying earlier, social media is really changing the way we think and the way we do things. But the change is neither necessarily positive or necessarily negative. It really is up to us. I think the one thing that I've learned in my 4.5 years in Rappler is that, anything can happen. Literally, and in the Philippines in general, right? Anything can happen. We're like a Gabriel Garcia Marquez novel, where literally you give us enough 100 years and who knows, the dead will come back to life. Just to show you an example of how quickly social media is changing and how much power social media has. We all know Aldab. But do you know how powerful Aldab is? Or how powerful it can be? If we just look at one snapshot of one day, when this hashtag was trending, this is the actual, on the right side, you can see the actual number of tweets per minute. And at one point, around 10 in the morning or 11, which is when Itbulaga comes out, 44 or 43,000 tweets per minute using that hashtag. That's just Filipinos. Filipinos are tweeting at a rate that's faster than probably the speed of light, if the speed of light could be measured on social media. Okay? But so what, right? So we're great at tweeting whenever there's a teleserie coming out and it happens to be about Aldab. But did you know that social media is not just the playground for entertainment? We're actually being used, social media is being used by the same people who want to kill us. Have you heard of ISIS? You know how ISIS has grown so fast? They've recruited teenagers from poor communities in Europe, in the UK. How they would tweet, they would post pictures, join us, marry an ISIS fighter or come and fight with us, and you will achieve whatever it is that you want. Recognition, happiness, you'll be able to follow your religious beliefs. And they use the same tools that we use to tweet about Aldab to actually convert, otherwise marginalized, maybe troubled teens into radicalized fighters. But imagine if Filipinos earlier tweeting this much and using social media in this way Imagine what we could do to counter that narrative. The narrative that says you're poor, you're marginalized, you have no worth unless you become a radical fighter. And so I believe, and this has yet to be tested, that we can actually beat ISIS, if only online, if we all work together to use social media in the right way. But okay, I know what you're thinking. Who says your way is the right way, my way isn't, right? There are many ways to use a tool such as social media. Correct. I think there's a lot of things that we still don't know. There's a lot of questions that still need to be answered when it comes to advocating for something. I was telling Patch earlier that there is really no magic bullet to converting your advocacy to something real world online. There was one time when I posted something about, I think it was about pollution or about climate change, and I only got like 10 likes on Facebook. But then, I went to this city called Pagadian City in Mindanao, and I took a picture of this rice. It's like suman with some sardines mixed into it called pastil. They sell it in Pagadian for 5 pesos. I took a picture of it, like, oh look, pastil. I posted on like 8,000 likes. I'm like, what? What's the, ano ba? Why is it that something like this can go viral and something like what affects us all and what might kill us isn't? We really don't know. I mean, if someone knew that, if you had that secret bullet, that magic bullet, then you'd probably really be rich by now. But no one knows, and it's a challenge actually. And actually, that's a great opportunity because no one really knows. We can experiment, we can try new things, and it doesn't mean to say that what my way of social media engagement is the most correct way. Your way might even be better, and who knows, you might even be the best social media engager in the world. Because each of us here are engagers, each of us here are publishers, and that's the beauty and the scary thing about social media. In fact, we might be killing ourselves, driving ourselves out of business by letting everyone else publish. There's an actual study done by these 2 Harvard professors, and they were looking at behavior or behavioral change, especially when it comes to your attitudes and how it affects your friends and their behavior. And they're looking specifically at health, like obesity, smoking, alcohol. If you drink alcohol, what are the chances that your friends will, be drinking too, or what are the chances you influence your friends to smoke if you guys smoke? So what they found that there are 3 degrees of influence, and this seems a bit, commonsensical, but let's take a look at it. Emotions and behavior spread through your network in 3 degrees. Let's take a clear example. If you feel lonely, you have a chance of affecting your friends, your direct friends, meaning the people that you see on a regular basis, because of your emotions. So they have a 50% chance of feeling the same feeling, or behaving the same way. For example, if you like smoking. Your friends though, even if you might not know them directly, now have a 25% chance of getting that same, or being influenced by that same emotion or behavior. So interestingly enough, you now here have a 25% chance of influencing someone you don't know on social media or in the real world. And your friend's friend will have that same chance too. Okay? So if you spread something, if you think of something, if you share something online, you like something online, you know that Facebook has changed their algorithm so much that they deliver content to you based on what you engage with. But sometimes they might throw in a wild card. They might throw in a comment of a friend you haven't seen, or a picture of a friend you haven't seen in a very long time. I noticed it. Recently I've been seeing like, oh, this friend ko ba to? And I look at him, apparently he is my friend. And he's coming out in my Facebook feed. But I haven't visited his account, so I don't know what's happening. But maybe somehow they think that by giving you, this new friend or this old friend, you might reconnect with that friend. And interesting enough, if I haven't really, been in touch with that friend or that acquaintance, I still get influenced by what that friend or acquaintance is thinking or feeling in that same moment. Now, how does that happen on social media? First, you have a tweet or a post, right? But beneath that, you have this whole iceberg of emotional linkages. Because your social network is much, much wider than you actually think. And that now affects behavior. So, do you know the most shared or the most poignant emotion online? Was it anger? I think it was anger, right? Yeah, anger or fear. Why do you think President Trump won? Over the whole message of hope and change that the other candidate had. I think it was because there was this palpable anger and fear that kind of was ignored by mainstream media. They weren't reporting on that. And so online, it was a different story. And that's why it was such an upset. That's why it was such a surprise. Because beneath that layer of, it's this versus this, there was actually this whole other set of emotions that were in play. The whole climate in the United States, which we actually kind of saw here 6 months earlier with the Duterte presidency. We didn't see that play up nationally, but maybe in the networks online and in the communities on the ground, there was that concern. There was that underlying fear that what happens if this happens? What happens if this doesn't happen? And so sometimes mainstream media, including Rappler, fails to go down to that level because we always think about who are the newsmakers, who are the loudest voices, what do they say? And we tend to gloss over what the local leaders are saying, what the community leaders are saying. But social media kind of allows you to do that. Now, let's keep it light. Try to go to some positive examples. How has social media changed things for the better? I don't know if you know Mary Jane Veloso. Familiar? Yeah, what's her story? She was a domestic helper working in Malaysia, but got arrested because when she traveled to Indonesia, she was actually carrying 5 kilos of shabu, which she claims that she didn't pack herself. It was given to her. The bag was given to her. But she was tagged as a drug lord. She was tagged as the mastermind of this drug trafficking ring. And for the first 5 years of her time in jail, no one knew her story. Only when she was about to be executed did people start talking about her online. Groups like Migrante International, groups in Indonesia who work with death row inmates, groups who work with OFWs, were talking about her and trying to get her story more publicized. And that prompted this whole swell of people writing about her and talking about her on social media. And interestingly enough, I think, that it wasn't so much that the Filipinos were talking about her that helped change her plight. I mean, right now she's still in jail, but she's alive. I was there outside the Indonesian embassy in Makati on the eve of her execution, and you could sense everyone had lost hope. The people who were rallying to save her had lost hope. But somehow, after midnight, like a minute after midnight, when she was supposed to be executed, all of a sudden things changed, and we realized that she was, at least, her execution was staged or was put on hold. And I really believe it was people in Indonesia who had learned about her plight and learned about her story, who actually put pressure on their own government to reconsider her case, because the other people who were supposed to be executed with her weren't executed, but only she was saved. I don't think we, Filipinos will actually change the president of Indonesia's mind. I mean, we're not his voters. He doesn't care about us. But he cares about Indonesian people. And somehow the Indonesian people, even if she wasn't Indonesian, knew about her story and learned about her story and felt affinity, because Indonesians are also OFWs too, or overseas workers too. So interestingly, Mary Jane today is alive, but she's still in jail, so it's not yet over. The hashtag Save Mary Jane became Mary Jane Lives. Maybe social media had a hand in it, maybe not, but isn't it nice to think about it that one tweet, one share contributes to that. Of course, there are many ways in Rappler that we do social media advocacy, conversion to real world action. We don't discount, of course, the ability to crowdfund. In fact, that's something that we want to experiment a lot with moving forward. And something that we do even now is just putting a small button at the bottom of every story that you can act upon. So if you want to help the refugees in Syria, a country that's so far away from us, you can help by donating to UNHCR. June 20 was World Refugee Day. And that's something that concrete, diba? You take action because you feel strongly about something. That applies to any advocacy that you might belong to or that you want to start. It doesn't have to be big. I mean, yes, liking and sharing is great because it expands your reach. But really, how do you now convert that emotional pull or that affinity to real world action? Or how do you convert that person's eyeballs into hands that volunteer? So that's always the question that we need to ask ourselves. Okay, what is the call to action? Just an example again of what can be done. I'll show you a quick video just to show his story. But we found this guy who has, well, let me just show you the video so you can see.
Gumagawa ng miniature president. Kailangan akong ganito, ito lang ang command. Sa Nakataliana, Pedro Occidental, meron silang paninda doon na RTW, kita mo na tapos
You can watch the whole video later, but basically this story of Andy, again, it's a simple story, short video, but look how much it moved people to actually want to help Andy and change his life. And we were touched by this because we knew that this would, of course, become something of a hit. But what we weren't anticipating was that people would actually go out, not even go contact Raptor directly, go straight to him and find him and try to help him in his shop. So that's the power of things like this. You never know. It could be a picture, it could be a video, it could be something that you took up on your way to work or to school. And most of the time it is like that. Those stories begin with just a picture, right? And you can change a person's life literally overnight. Of course, there's also the other side of it where you can ruin a person's life overnight. But let's not talk about that yet. I think you've seen all of that, right? So let me leave you with a few more slides, couple more slides. It's easy enough to talk about doing good, changing the world. That all makes sense to us. But really, doing nothing is the easiest thing. Doing nothing, saying nothing, is probably the best thing we can do to keep our sanity in this world where there's so much going on. There's so much fake news, there's so much things trying to get our attention. So in Raptor, and I think what's happening in social media in general is that what we realize is that every one of us here today, each of you here, has a voice, or has an advocacy, has passion that you want to pursue. And so the journalists of old, the traditional journalists realize that they have to kind of give way and let everyone tell their voice, because we can't personally, journalists can't go out and cover every story. We always get these press releases, please cover our story, please cover our story. We can't, it's impossible. We're a small company. Ryan here in the back, who used to work at Raptor, he knows that possibility. So what do we do? Or what did we do? We actually created a platform where everyone now can tell their story on Raptor. And you can create your own page on Raptor and literally share your story, and Raptor will share what you write. So the couple of things that we want to show you, like there's this story that I really found cute. 5 reasons why you shouldn't send your dog to Saints Co. Anyone from Saints Co here? And 1 reason why you should. This actually went really viral. It's not against Saints Co actually. You should read it. It was written by a Saints Co mom. This other one, of course, just highlighting the small acts that people are doing to make a difference. And again, this is not something that mainstream media would, always cover. But here, each of you have a voice. Each person, anywhere in the world, can now publish something, and it gets shared online. And the best part is, you're not alone. You find people through your network who are reading you, and you can connect with them. So if you are an advocate, you are a campaigner, and you want to know who's reading your posts, you can go on Rapid X, you can look at your network, and you can even say and comment, thank you for reading. If you want to learn more, please follow us, please join us, volunteer, or if you want to donate, you can donate. So that's a way, it's like your own social network on Raptor, connecting with people who share the same interests as you. And that's the big question that every one of us here wants to know. How can we connect to people who share the same interests as us and actually move them to action? You know, on Facebook, they're reaching almost 2 billion users worldwide, and this is an actual map of Facebook connections. So you look at the potential, of course, North America is pretty saturated, Europe is saturated. You look at the potential of Southeast Asia, just Southeast Asia alone, and you can clearly see the Philippines is one of the most active social media Facebook users in the world. We're only second to Indonesia, and that's because Indonesia has 200 million Indonesians, and we have 110, 100 million. And most of us are on Facebook. If not, most of us have probably 2 accounts on Facebook, right? Aminin, mga iba dyan. Okay? But what's more interesting is that recently Mark Zuckerberg came out with this initiative to make Facebook groups even better, because he said 100 million Facebook users use the groups feature on Facebook to have meaningful connections. Meaning that these aren't the groups that you just join for the sake of joining. These are the groups that you actually want to read and you visit every day. So if 100 million people on Facebook are actually using a group feature to connect to others, that's such a big potential if you are a campaigner, or even if you are a marketer, or if you're an advocate, to find the people who share the same interests as you, and again, convert real online action to real world action. And you don't have to be limited to just the Philippines. So those are the 2 questions that I want to leave you with. First is how to connect people from diverse backgrounds with similar interests, which is what Facebook is wondering, and how to change and convert into real world action. The last thing I want to leave you with is, that's just one little thing we knew about millennials. 5 in 10 believe that they can actively change the world, which is quite upsetting. 50% only believe that they can actually change the world. But then again, millennials, so 50%, okay. But the last thing I want to leave you with is this. My favorite scene from Forrest Gump. You've seen this scene, right? He's running. He doesn't really know why he's running. People are following. Why are you running? They're following him. They believe in him. He helps a couple of people start their businesses. And then he ends up and he just stops and says, I'm tired of running. And the guys in the back are like, what do we do now? So who are you? Are you Forrest Gump, or are you the guys running in the back? And if you're the guys running in the back, why are you running? Right? All of us here are kind of running towards something. We're trying to race towards something. Maybe we like to have a leader in front of us. Maybe we like to be in the back or in the front. It doesn't really matter. But as long as you know why you're running and what you're running for, then if one person stops and you keep going, then great, right? And that's, I think the big challenge for us today. Do nothing or do something. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone. Zach already gave you an introduction to social media and advocacy, so mine is actually more specific, and it's more on heritage conservation and how we were able to harness social media for that. But before anything else, I have a quiz for everyone. Let's guess the country just by looking at photos. Really easy. Egypt. Greece. Russia. India. The US. Australia. China. This is Thailand, and what Aru, it's a very important symbol of the country. This is in Indonesia, Borobudur. A little bit more challenging. Myanmar, yes, this is the Shwedagon Pagoda. Cambodia. Yes. I always show those pictures just to make a point, you know. Many countries around the world are actually known by their heritage symbols. And they go they really make it a point to preserve these structures and their vistas. And it's actually a challenge here in the Philippines because sometimes our politicians and some developers think that heritage is backward and it's something that won't benefit the country and we have to get rid of it. But of course, when we go and we travel abroad, we can see that we actually visit the heritage of other countries. No? And which is why we have this salute saying, ang hindi marunong lumingon sa pinanggalingan ay hindi makakarating sa paroroonan. If we do not know how to look back at our past, if we don't love our culture, we won't become progressive as a nation. We won't progress as a nation. So I'll show you some pictures that I'm sure none of us, we weren't born early enough to see this. Do you know where this is? This is Binondo. This is Binondo. And you can see that Binondo had very clean esteros. Transportation was actually through the esteros. And if you notice, the houses were actually facing the waterways. Hindi tulad ngayon yung mga structures, it's usually the back facing the estero and it becomes some sort of garbage dump already. But before, the structures were facing the estero. So here's another photo of Binondo. So you can see the waterways were very important then. Again, this is another estero in Binondo, Manila. So Manila was actually very charming city before. We used to have a lighthouse also at the mouth of the Pasig River. And this is actually a map of Manila. What do you notice about it? What do you notice? Okay, let's do a close up. And a close up. What do you see? It's all waterways. No? If you notice, Binondo is an island. And there were actually all other islands. In fact, Malabon, Nabotas, there were islands as well. But we had reclamation and the waterways were eaten by the structures, so we don't see that anymore. In fact, when Daniel Burnham created a plan for Manila in 1905, this is how he described Manila. Possessing the Bay of Naples, the winding river of Paris, and the canals of Venice, with the unparalleled and priceless addition of a tropical setting. So imagine we were described as Venice, and I think it was obvious you could see all the canals around Manila. Of course, you have the Bay of Naples, you have Manila Bay, which we don't see anymore because of the reclamations, and there are more reclamations coming in. And of course, the Pasig River isn't as clean as it should be. No? So sayang, we kind of squandered that strength. No? But of course, we didn't do it alone. The war had something to do with that. No? So you can see this is Manila, this is Fort Santiago, and you can see that the boats were actually docked by the fort. We used to have a tram system as well. No? We really had good public transport. If I'm not mistaken, the tram went from Malabon to Parañaque, passing through Manila. No? So it was a very efficient public transportation system in the city. This is more of Intramuros. And as you can see, the post office was just being constructed over here. And this is the post office constructed. Notice this is Jones Bridge before. So if you look at it now, parang it doesn't look like that anymore. But if you know these statues, they're still existent. If I'm not mistaken, 2 of them are in the Court of Appeals, and then there's I think 1 of them in Luneta. So they're still there. So maybe in the future, when we have more money, we can bring them back and try to recreate this bridge along the Pasig River. Of course, this is the Metropolitan Theater. Again, here's another photo of the Skolka, and you can see that there were tram tracks as well. And the Quezon Bridge. And this is at the banks of the Pasig River. You can see buildings that still exist today, like El Hogar and the First National City Bank. But as I mentioned, we were kind of devastated, not just kind of, we were really devastated during the war. As you can see, Manila was totally flattened. No? It was, I don't know, it's some military strategy just so that there would be few casualties. They basically obliterated the city. And the result of that, of course, is we lost our architectural gems. No? But fast forward to today, there are still structures that are still standing, like the Albugar building in the First National City Bank. And way back in 2000, this structure was still standing. This is of course, the Hayalay building. It's one of the most beautiful Art Deco buildings, not just in the Philippines, but in Asia. And it was designed by Hollywood architect Welton Beckett. And in 2000, the City of Manila at the time, Mayor Tito Atienza, said that I want to demolish this building because I'm going to build the Hall of Justice. And heritage advocates were saying, Mayor, you actually don't have to demolish the building. You can reuse the building and convert it into a Hall of Justice. Are you familiar with the game Hayalay? You have a pelota court. No? So the advocates were saying the pelota court can be converted into a courtroom, and then the bleachers would become the gallery of the courtroom. No? So it can be done. No? But unfortunately, the mayor had something else in mind, and he brought in the wrecking ball, and in 2000, the Hayalay building was demolished. So that became a battle cry for the heritage community. Remember the Hayalay. It's 17 years since the Hayalay was demolished. And guess what's standing in the property right now? It's an empty lot. Up to now, it's still an empty lot. So that was such a waste, but it actually became the catalyst for a stronger heritage revolution. And I want to show you some buildings from other countries. And this is one thing that we are actually advocating, which is adaptive reuse. So if you take a look at some buildings, this is the meatpacking district in Manhattan. Warehouses were converted into trendy lofts, and the ground floors would, of course, be store space. This is the Tate Gallery of Modern Art in London. And of course, what was it before? It was a power plant before. They almost demolished it, but they converted it into something really fantastic inside. They were able to convert it into a really great space. In fact, this is another power plant. It's just in Baltimore, Maryland, which was converted into another shopping mall. In fact, the sad part, if you've been to power plant in Makati, the original plan was really to preserve the power plant. That used to be a power plant. Unfortunately, I don't think they pursued that. They demolished the power plant and they built a new structure. But that would have been a fantastic space if they actually used the power plant and converted it into mall. And even condominium buildings, no? If you notice, these two buildings are old buildings. And this one is new. This is new. But what did they do? They made sure that the lines of the buildings were the same, the height was the same, they followed the scale. And notice the 3 floors that they added on top. They're set back. So if you're at the street level, you won't see the 3 floors. No? So it's really fantastic how they blend modern architecture with old architecture in other countries. In Toronto, an entire distillery was converted into a entertainment, dining, shopping space. I'm hoping that Tanduay Distillery can be converted into something like this. In San Diego, you notice this old building, the Western Metal Supply. They couldn't demolish it, so they built the baseball field around it. No? So the building suddenly became bleachers, no? for the baseball field. Even walls, they can be incorporated into old structures. New structures, old walls. No? And another power plant in London is going to be converted again into commercial space. In the US, McDonald's. I have yet to see a McDonald's or a Jollibee in the Philippines that actually reuses an old house. We've had Jollibees and McDonald's which try to imitate old architecture, but it's really mostly failures. So, even vegan, we have some criticisms as to what they did in McDonald's there. But look at this. This is an old house, 1700s house in the US, in New York. And when the community found out that McDonald's was coming in, they made sure to declare the house, so McDonald's didn't have a choice but to preserve the house and use the house as their branch. So maybe in the future we can have McDonald's and Jollibees which are in old structures. Even in Singapore, which is ultra modern, they still preserve their old architecture. Old Quay, Clark Quay, and Fullerton Hotel, which used to be the post office of Singapore. But here in the Philippines, we can also do it, and it's already being done, except in the city of Manila, it's quite challenging. For example, this is an old house in Silay, which is now a bank. So if you notice RCBC, they did put all those signage, so it's very, they respected the architecture. Tutuban Station is now a mall, and that used to be the 1892 main train station of Manila. So it's still there. Very close to us, Nielsen Tower in Makati City used to be the airport terminal. Ayala Avenue used to be our runway, and they've converted it into many things. It's now Blackbird, it's now a restaurant. And if you go to the back, you'll see that. Gota de Leche is a milk station which was converted into office space. And this is the First National City Bank, which I was showing you a while ago. They retrofitted it, and they were supposed to house what do you think it was supposed to be? It's actually prepared to be a call center. Call center. What's the problem? They couldn't get clients. It's so difficult. Why? Because the city of Manila doesn't care about the surrounding areas. So safety is a concern. And then you have a call center at night. It's scary. It's a scary area. It's really unfortunate. You have investors, but the city of Manila is doing its part of clearing, making sure that the area is safe. So notice also that they added the floor on top. So again, there's a proper way of respecting heritage buildings. This is actually a close-up of that floor on top with a view of the post office. Have you been to Henry Manila? This is in FD Harrison in Pasay. It's actually 4 houses that have been converted into a hotel, a boutique hotel, which is a very popular hotel among expats and diplomats. So you might want to take a look at that. And then this year, in fact, I think it's June or July, the Museum of Natural History will be opening. It used to be in the DOT building, and it's going to feature, of course, the natural history of the Philippines. So, what have we been able to do? First and foremost, we always encourage people through online to support heritage conservation. One thing is that culture hasn't been really a big part of CSR, so we're trying to push that. We hope that people will start supporting cultural NGOs. We are also encouraging people to adopt heritage sites. In other countries, corporations do adopt heritage sites. They fund the restoration of heritage sites. And maybe we can do that in the Philippines. We can maybe give incentives for that. We're working on a bill that can actually give incentives. And then, here's another thing that we want to stress. We need to keep heritage within the community, which is why we're very much against the transfer of heritage. When you transfer heritage, you're basically removing the context. You're taking away heritage from a community, and I'll talk about that briefly in one of my last slides. Of course, we need to encourage adaptive reuse and include it in fact, we are encouraging real estate developers, when you get a property that has heritage on it, include it. In fact, if you go to Festival Mall, there's a new wing that's going to open very soon. The main portal of that wing is a pre-war Art Deco building in Alabang. So I've seen it, it's all white right now, it's freshly painted, they even have a pre-war statue in front of it. So it's fantastic how the festival did not demolish the building, and they used the building as the main portal of the wing of the mall. And of course, we should not undertake projects that will lessen our public open spaces. We continue to face a lot of challenges, and it's really through social media that many of these structures have been protected. This is the Dampol Bridge in Nueva Vizcaya. And DPWH was going to do road widening, and they were going to get rid of this bridge. But the local community, they posted on social media, they went up in arms. The congressman, we were able to contact the congressman, and they stopped the project. Although there was damage done to the bridge, but at least most of it is still safe. Of course, Army and Navy Club became a very big issue when it was gutted inside, the interior was gutted. Although the hotel is opening, we will see how the restoration was actually, we can't call it a restoration actually. Within the heritage community, it was not a restoration that was done in Army Navy Club. So it's actually a modern take on the interiors already. Then we've had a lot of social media campaigns on reclamation in Manila Bay. As you know, the City of Manila has already approved the 4th reclamation project. So there are 4 reclamation projects and several of them are going to be problematic as, if you notice, this is the last original strip of Manila Bay. Everything else is reclaimed, all the way to Parañaque, all the way north. So that's the last original strip of Manila Bay. And we're hoping that it won't happen, of course, because it will pose a lot of problems. Of course, another social media issue, the Torre de Manila. Unfortunately, we lost the case in the Supreme Court, and we lost simply because there was a law that does not allow the destruction of pistas. And I think some of our senators are already working on that law. Unfortunately, hindi natin maidaan doon sa mabuting usapan, especially when a lot of money is involved. I mean, any right-minded Filipino would have protected that vista, but of course money talks. So even if they already knew it was going to be an issue even before constructing the structure. I mean, Carlos Aldran had already raised the issue even before construction. Unfortunately, Filipinos usually react when they already see it, when it's there. But when it's, the foresight part is, hey, this is going to become a problem, etc., etc. And now the tower is there. And then, of course, we're taking a look at El Hogar also. We call it the crown jewel of Manila architecture. Fantastic building, and I think it's a waiting game because little by little they're taking out the inside. So we still don't know what the plans are for this building, but we hope that it gets protected also. And then, of course, the big issue right now is the Rizal Memorial Stadium. There are 4 pre-war stadia in the Rizal Memorial Sports Complex, and as we all know, the City of Manila plans to sell the property or enter into a joint venture. We still don't know. People are still trying to find out because they're very secretive about it, but definitely there's going to be commercial space somewhere there. But for advocates and people who are in the know, especially in urban planning, we are basically fighting for adaptive reuse, meaning fine, there can be commercial areas, you can build new structures in the complex, but you have to preserve the character, you have to preserve the 4 sports stadia, which is a very important part of Manila's history. And beautiful art decor. And finally, I mentioned transfer of heritage. Binyan has been fighting for this house for a very long time. The locals believe that it's the house of Teodora Alonso, the mother of Jose Rizal. Unfortunately, the owner of the house has plans for it. He wants to build a commercial building, demolish the house, and I think Starbucks or maybe a fast food. He basically sold the house to Acusar, and what they did was, because the city of Binyan refused to give a demolition permit, ayaw bigyan ng demolition permit ng city government, they basically took the inside of the house, the interior of the house, they gutted it, and they reconstructed the interior in Bataan, and then they built a new exterior. So the exterior that you see in Bataan is actually not the real thing, because the real thing is still in Binyan, But of course, because they gutted the interior, parts of the house collapsed. Parts of the house collapsed. So, people are asking, so what are we going to do now? So what did the local government do? And finally, they did it. They actually filed for an expropriation. So as of June 19, they've taken possession of the house already, and the city government plans to restore the house, bring it back to what it was before. You have to remember, the Rizal house in Calamba is a replica. No? It's a replica. It's a 1950s replica that was designed by, I'm not to say, Juan Akpil, no? And you have to remember, because if you remember our history in Rizal, they were expelled from Calamba and their house was destroyed. So that's a replica. And there are many other replicas of houses of heroes in the Philippines. So that's why Binyan is going to be doing that as well. They're going to be reconstructing the house. Many of the original walls are still there, so they're going to be bringing it back. So social media has become a very important part of these causes. The Alberto House, you can go to Facebook, you can visit the historic Alberto Mansion Facebook page, and you can see all the updates. No? You can see all the updates that they've been doing for the house and how they plan to reconstruct it. And we've had so many battles on social media. It's been a very important tool. In fact, without social media, many of our heritage structures may be gone by now, even more. Because of social media, people have been given a voice. People have been given a voice, and we've been able to raise these opinions so that our leaders would listen. Dati kasi nung wala pang social media, they can demolish a house and no one's gonna react to that. But now, we have communities speaking up and telling our leaders, our local leaders, our national leaders that, hey, we value our heritage, we value our identities as Filipinos, don't touch it. So with that, I end my talk for this afternoon. Thank you very much.